What's up, everyone? Welcome to War Whiskey Podcast. I'm Justin Fisher. That's Chris Autry. Chris, how are you?
Good, Fish. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, buddy. Hey, let's recap episode 3. Episode 3, we were leaving our home at Fort Hood, heading down to JRTC. Before we get into Chris's thoughts on that, I want to thank everyone for watching the show. This is basically has been chronicling our journey as we head into our 17-year reunion of our first deployment to Iraq. So thank you everyone for supporting the show. The show has grown incredible, and we continue to put out new content as we move on a weekly basis. So Chris, talking about leaving Fort Hood and heading to JRTC, what do you remember about that?
I remember feeling like I was driving into the armpit of the country, and I was pretty much validated once we got there. Knowing what we had to do at JRTC just kind of felt like a pit stop, to be honest.
Yeah, and you and I were talking before the break in pre-production, how we really don't have a lot of memories from JRTC.
Yeah,
because it wasn't our Super Bowl. A lot of people now are like, oh, it's JRTC or NTC.
Yeah.
For us, it was just like, oh, okay, we're here for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then we're going to go on to the next show. I do remember us getting our desert uniforms. You remember those? Amazing.
Yeah.
Things?
Yes. Yeah. We definitely got some new equipment, some tents, the Molly system.
Yeah.
And of course, to go with your desert BDUs, we got a green Molly system.
Right. Absolutely. And for people who've never worn a desert uniform, until you wash it a dozen times and get sun bleached, it has a pink hue to it. So back then you could tell all the new people because our uniforms had a pinkish hue to it. I remember meeting, you remember when President Bush came there?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, man. It was nice to see him make his debut.
Yep. President Bush came down, everyone, and basically thanked the unit that was stationed at Fort Polk that wasn't going anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who really wasn't there. I mean, they were kind of there, but it was mostly all the 39th Infantry Brigade was there. He thanked everyone but the 39th Infantry, except for the people who were deploying. He thanked everyone but us. Then basically had his country singer sing a couple of catchy tunes and give us a
couple of the classics.
Yeah, a couple of the classics. The one-hit wonder guys.
Yeah, or the ripped-off classics.
And he jokes about that. One of the singers was Kevin Sharp, a country singer that did what's that song by Tony?
Nobody knows it but me.
Yeah, and he got there and sang it. It was kind of big on the country charts for a little bit, and that was it.
Yeah,
I like the Tony Rich Project version better myself.
Yeah. That man can wear a better hat.
Yeah. My claim to fame with that was I was roughly 8 inches from shaking President Bush's hand.
Almost made it, man.
He gave me the high five. Be safe, guys. And walked off. And I was like, what the heck? The Secret Service guys are looking at me. Pageants with me. We're just, I was like, well, are you serious? So, but really for us, JRTC was just a road bump.
Yeah.
One thing that our unit went through, we went through some leadership changes during that time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We picked up a new company commander. So leadership philosophies were changing. And we also, I picked up a new I was getting used to my new squad leader that I got. I actually got him right when we were leaving Hood. My old squad leader faked a heart attack and during the big fight and never actually left Louisiana.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, when we talk about these instances in this podcast, we're not going to name names. Reason we do that is that it's Charlie Company internal. For whatever reasons, those people who in our unit and are still in, they know who they are. And there's going to be some instances that we're going to talk about, but we're not going to name names.
Right.
That's not our goal. We're not here to bash people, but we have to give our perspective of the details.
Our honest military experience.
Exactly. And it's from our perspective. And because we have the people who are like, well, really, this is what, not that's your perspective. This is my perspective and your perspective.
Yeah.
So far, it's been very accurate. But my old squad leader faked a heart attack during this and basically didn't deploy with us. And we shortly found ourselves getting ready to go over to Kuwait.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think about that? Getting ready to fly over? What was your thoughts on that?
Man, I was excited. I just wanted to see the Super Bowl before we went, and we got to sneak off and do that. So that was kind of nice. But I had signed up for advanced party, and of course, I got to miss that. So you have to tell me a little bit about advanced party, as glorious as it was.
Yeah, so I did go advanced party. Pro tip to some people, as one of my CrossFit coaches always says. If you get the chance to, always go advanced party.
Yep.
Because your pay starts sooner, your hazard duty pay and all that stuff starts sooner, if depending where you're at. But the rules are different before main body gets there.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got into country, first of all, it was my first time ever overseas.
Yep.
We flew 19 hours on the floor of a C-130, like 19 of us did.
Yeah.
Tons of room. So when we get there, it's dark. I was just amazed that, if you remember, Kuwait had street lamps all down their main highways. Like their interstate had in the middle of the desert, all had street lamps. And I remember us driving forever. Then we got into Camp New York. And what they were doing at the time, they were to provide some context to this story, and Chris will back this up, is they were establishing these camps. Tent cities. These hard structured camps, Camp New York, Camp Buring, all this stuff. And units were mobilizing out of it and going across the border. And it was right there on the border of Iraq.
Yep.
And they had like a hard chow hall and all this stuff. And basically they put you there and let you get acclimated to the area the best you can, as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Usually you're jet lagged and you got to get used to the heat and all that stuff. That's what they try to do.
Yeah.
One of the missions before, and I don't want to bog it all down, one of the advanced party missions that we got, we went to Doha.
Yeah.
And was it Doha? Yeah. And we took police cars from there to the port.
Like actual cop cars?
Yeah, like actual cop cars. So what happened? So basically, the way the United States works is we attack the infrastructure, because humans are creatures of comfort, right? If I turn the power off in your house right now, you go rabid mad within 15 minutes. So we attack the infrastructure, then we build it back up. So the coalition bought all these cop cars to give to the Iraqi police to give them some power. And they said, "Hey, American soldiers who've never driven in Kuwait, we need you guys to drive these cop cars, brand new, and all the way from," it says, like an hour drive all over Kuwait to this port. And by the way, we're going to give you the temptation of don't turn the radio on, don't turn the sirens on, don't do anything but drive like you are in driving school. So like, it was like putting in, like, so they had the fuses in there. So all you got to do is push the fuses, and then the radio came on, then the lights came on. Then you're like, oh, then that was like the hype of like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
They're all standard cars. So you're like, oh, dude. I remember Josh Lore pulling over someone because they kind of merged over in front of him in the lane. So he pulls them over and drives off. And I think
he always want to be a cop anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He ended up being a recruiter, which is close enough.
Yeah.
But he ended up, he pulled these people over and took off. When we got to the port, I think we totaled 2 of them.
Nice.
I remember these people jumping on the hood to push it down.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of missions like that, moving like, I have a picture of me and Kevin Panel. Like he passes out on me while we're stopping to go into the camp, because we're moving Humvees back and forth. But it was a good time because you guys didn't show up for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we had some time. We stayed in the back and just got everything ready, staged everything, got us all together, the whole hoorah speech,
So what was your thoughts on, like, first time you saw Kuwait and landing in Kuwait?
It was just like a giant sandbox, to be honest with you. I mean, because when we finally got to Camp New York, and it was just like tent city stage right there, there was like nothing there. But I'll tell you one thing that made me think of it so much is like the nights are so dark there, because even though they had light poles on the streets, in those tent cities, they had nothing.
Right.
I mean, they had a couple of those generator lights, but like when it was dark out, it was dark out.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially being on the outer edges of the camp.
Yeah.
It was like really, really dark.
Yeah.
I remember main body, we didn't, or our events party didn't have a lot of rules.
Yeah. You didn't have much leadership.
No, yeah, we really didn't. It's kind of like, hey, be here this time, do this and that. And when you guys arrived, when main body arrived, that's when we got stupid. You remember the infamous, like, everyone no less than a fire team to the porta potties. Shower tent was fire team or squad, and everyone had to have goggles on or some kind of eye protection. And folks, what this is what we call overreaction.
Yeah.
Really what it is you see leadership who don't know how to adapt to the environment. So you got a bunch of soldiers walking around wearing ESS goggles and, getting laughed at by active duty guys because you look like, a bunch of people walking across there.
Yeah. A little too hoo-ah for the party.
Yeah. And I don't know how long that lasted. I think it lasted until it became an inconvenience for the leadership of the battalion level.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I don't think we were in Kuwait very long, maybe like 5-6 days, right?
No. So what do you remember about getting ready to go across the border?
I remember I was a little worried because I just got over being sick. Like I was just walking back from the chow hall one day and just turned and just threw up for no reason at all.
So what got you sick? Do you remember?
It must have been chow, dude. It had to have been chow. You know how the military can't nail eggs just right every time.
No.
That's the first time I've ever had scorched eggs. That's the first time I've had like undone eggs. It's just liquid. Just cook it just right. But if there's ever a meal in the chow hall that you don't get right every time, it's eggs. And so, like, I was just walking back and just blip, and then about 10 more feet, walked in, blip. Ended up getting sick, going to med call, and then getting this little pill called Ambien. Just to kind of help me get some sleep. And a little known secret about Ambien and infantry guys is if you stay up a little bit later than you're supposed to on Ambien.
Yes.
And twilight zoning.
Yeah. For the audience at home, Ambien creates amnesia, temporary amnesia for 4 hours. You'll feel this really warm sensation that says, hey, I need to go to sleep. But if you say, hey, I'm going to push past this because great things are going to happen, don't do it. Just go to sleep. Go to sleep. When we talk about my 2008 deployment, I'll tell you why. A guy sang an 11-minute song to me without a hook. 11 minutes of a guy playing a guitar, high on Ambien, high as hell on Ambien. Yeah. Good dude. Really good guy. High as hell, doesn't remember. 4 minute or 11 minutes song. I timed it. I sit there and timed it. But if you do not go to sleep when Ambien tells you to go to sleep,
that's a whole nother level.
Man, it is
a whole nother level.
You do not want that conversation when people tell you what you did the next day.
No. Thank goodness, the cell phones weren't quite as advanced as they are now, because I'm sure there's some videos that would surface.
I don't think we had calling cards there yet. And we'll talk about that once we get in the country.
Yeah.
Don't think anybody was calling home then.
No, because a lot of us we didn't get in cell phones until we got in the country. But that's kind of where we're heading, though, right? We're talking about our drive in.
Right. So getting ready to drive across the border. Now, literally, we are on the border of Iraq. And basically, the way it's being portrayed to us is like, hey, as soon as you cross the border, you're getting into fights. You remember these conversations? These briefings? Oh yeah.
Because it was part fear, part worry on both sides. Like they were trying to instill fear, but they felt the fear, and then they were trying to instill worry and alertness, so everybody would stay awake and watch their stuff.
Right. I remember before we get into getting our convoys together, that we got the briefings from the guys who had deployed before. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
The dude was like, well, I'm in the box with you. It turned out he was a big fraud.
Yeah.
But and really everyone's combat experience is different. That's the thing that you have to remember. My combat experience is totally different than everyone else's. That's just, we have similarities.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. By the time they're like, hey, as soon as you hit the border, I mean, we're looking at the border. It's over the berm. Hey, when you get across the border in Iraq.
Yeah, because we took off and then we stopped and had another hoo-ah meeting. Yeah. And then got back on the road.
Yeah. And so prior to that, we're getting our vehicles, a convoy across.
Yeah.
Yep. Our role because we were attached to 19 Cav, was to escort, basically escort the logistics into our fob.
Yep.
Yeah, and we were going to the assembly area in the middle of Iraq. So basically, where it works, we're leaving from Iraq. We're leaving from Kuwait. 3-hour trip.
I think we did. I think we did about 3 hours at a time, wasn't it? I mean, we did longer than that because it took us 3 days to get there, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a 3-day trip.
Yeah.
3-day trip into the assembly area, which was at this big staging area in the middle of the green zone, basically, where the two swords, cross sabers. If anybody looks up cross sabers in Iraq, you'll see these two right hands holding two swords. It symbolizes Iran and Iraq.
Yeah, their first war.
Yeah, their first war. Yeah, that's where our assembly area is at, and we got we'll cover that once we get there. We'll later on in the episode.
Yeah.
But Chris, what kind of Humvee did you have?
Well, the good thing was I was all excited because I was on the team. I was on the detail to go get the brand new up armored Humvees to bring into our company area. Brand new, like taking plastic off the radio, brand new.
Yep.
So we got in those things and drove them all. We started looking at the numbers for assignments, and we got in ours, and we drove in, and boom, boom, boom. Man, I'm ready, dude. This is gonna be fun.
Yep.
Get there, and I don't know if it was just me, but I just felt like the captain picked one out, and he picked ours. And so we got stuck with what we called. Did we call that one the meat grinder, right?
Mm-hmm. The meat grinder.
We got us an old busted up green Humvee with no doors.
Yep.
And an open back. And we had a machine gun stand in the middle of the back seat that we both had to lean up against because we had to face out the whole way.
Yep.
Because once we crossed the border, we were going to be in combat fight the whole way.
Yep. Firefight the whole way.
And then, lucky thing is Hanman, team leader, he was a welder anyway.
Yep.
So we went to this rummage yard, like we're back in Arkansas, and found us a giant piece of steel and put a door on.
Yeah.
So here we are.
This really happened, folks. This really happened.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. And there's no sleep because you got that machine gun standing in your back the whole time, and you're facing out. And then, of course, as we cross over bridges, you've got to cover the backside of the bridge.
Yep.
So I've got to put my saw down, and I've got to pick up my 240B and point at the back, or not 240, 203. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've been out too long, man.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
So I got to cover the back of the bridge as we go by, and I got ripped, but I got exhausted.
Yeah. Do you remember where you was at in the convoy?
Yeah, second to last, right in front of y'all.
Yeah. So I was right. You're right in front of a tanker. I'm right behind the tanker, and my Humvee was like a Sanford and Son knockoff. Our turret could only face one way. Now we could cover left or right traverse easily. We could not spin around to save our life. We stole a clearing barrel, which is what we use to clear weapons before you go in the chow hall. Strapped it down. For a seat for Jimmy, for a gunner seat.
That's right.
If we had to pull any kind of security when we went into that herringbone formation for like a stop, we had to like realign our whole vehicle.
Yeah.
We had I'd have a CD player with all like Poison and like Bon Jovi, all these CDs. And like so we strung speakers up and like we were jamming and we had Blue Force Tracker. And it was just a cargo Humvee with that. And that was it, man. We wrote Sanford and Son back of that metal. They had that gunner shield in the back.
Yeah.
That Hanman welded for us that we wrote Sanford and Son on so Jimmy wouldn't get shot in the back. That was it. That was it, man. Like we stared at that tanker the entire time. Like if that tanker got hit, it was it. We were done.
Yeah.
And as we were going down it, so the way it works is at the time, folks, we went in 10-minute intervals. So, hey, chalk 1, go. 10 minutes later, chalk 2, go. That's how it happens. So if you got lost from your convoy for whatever reason, just wait 10 minutes. You're going to pick up the next ones.
Yeah.
So and then you just find your assembly area and find your people. Kind of like I compare it to like Band of Brothers when they're all assembling area and they would just their landings got mixed up and they all just kind of, hey, where are you going? I'm going here. And that's kind of how it is. We all know where we had to go.
We should have been playing Benny Hill and the Beverly Hillbillies instead of Poison.
Yeah, man, dude. But we were rocking. So what was your first thoughts when you crossed the border?
Dude, I was like totally alert, man, because they just fill your head with so much of that's going to happen, and you're in the zone. And then as you get just anticipation, pretty much was most anything. I was wanting to get into to do two things. I wanted to test my own metal, and I wanted to see what they had.
Yeah,
but, what did we have some kind of fake reporter? What we had to stop and pull over for like an hour?
Yeah.
Somebody said they got their Hummer dinged or whatever. They hit a can or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's I remember, and he's absolutely right. I was like, I'm ready to go. I've been hearing all this nonsense about you're so young and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm better than you. Let me get out there.
Yeah.
And I remember I was all drawn up. As soon as we crossed the border, I saw a kid selling apples. I was like, what the heck? Then that was it. That was the first thing I saw was kids selling apples. Like, oh, okay. Then as we progressed, so what we were hearing, people were like, oh, dude, we took contact. And it was like, you didn't take no contact, dude. Stop that crap, man. So as we were moving, clearly you don't drive directly to Baghdad. You just don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
So what we did was we stopped at the certain areas for refueling and basically there's rest security areas. So they had these little mini fire bases set up. I remember one of them being Navstar.
Yeah, Navstar.
That's the one I remember the most because it was the most well kept in. They had a unit established there, so when you pulled in, all you had to do was like refuel, refit, and sleep, basically.
Yep.
What I remember about that experience, Chris, is that everyone got Ambien.
All the good stuff.
I remember myself and first it was like, hey, TC's, which is tank commander or troop commander, however you want to say it's actually truck commander in our case. Only they get Ambien so they can sleep. Well, then drivers get Ambien. Then gunners get Ambien. Then passengers, everyone got it. And I remember we took the medic came back and gave it to us and we took it and myself and you remember Mark Camp.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mark Camp. We're sitting in back of this Elm TV, which we just dropped the back down, climbed in the back of it, and we're getting some rest. And he starts talking about some really crazy, spaced out stuff. And I'm like, oh man, this Ambien's really kicking in right now. But that's some of the best sleep I got. How did you remember those experiences?
Yeah, we made one stop. Was it one stop before Navstar, or was it like a Keystone or something?
Yeah.
But I think the Navstar one was the one I actually got some sleep on. I think I got about 3 or 4
that was the last one before we got into country.
Yeah. So I finally got some sleep. Then, of course, we did it sitting up because we had to sit in the back of the Humvee, and of course, our Humvee didn't have anything to do with anything new. So
yeah, we just got out. So, folks, when you see on TV these Will created Humvees crossing the border, it's nothing like that. It's just
we didn't have those.
It looked like a band of gypsies going to attack.
If they put our Hummers in the commercials, nobody would ever join again.
They didn't attack us. Al, pity. No kidding. During the movement, our power steering went out, and Shoemake, my driver, took out a convoy's worth of mirrors because the power steering went out, and he just starts wiping out mirrors because he couldn't get the wheel over. And this first sergeant's yelling at us as we just go by, and we're just breaking. I guarantee you, 15 trucks mirrors. Just move off. And just kept going. I remember our mechanics looking at it and like, dude, you're going to have to drive into Iraq like that. And we're like, fine, whatever.
Yeah. We'll be there in a minute. Don't worry about it.
By then we didn't care. By day 3, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember coming into the city. You remember the Apaches picking us up?
Oh yeah, for air support.
Yeah. Yeah, so as we approached our rally point, Apaches picked us up. And mind you, Charlie Company was separate from the rest of the Arkansas units. So when you hear other people from the state talk about their deployment, you go ahead and just cut us out because we weren't with them. So we're totally separate. And Apache attack aircraft picked us up and escorted us in. And basically what we did was we got to a rally point and waited for our guides, which were the people who were replacing, to come pick us up and escort us into our fob. which we'll talk about the next in our next episode.
Yep.
So Chris, so far to recap our episode, we talked about basically a little bit of JRTC, but mostly about our trip into Iraq.
Yeah, dude, it was a great drive. Like I remember when we finally made that turn around to head into the top side of our fob. You know, the one that went by that Moab, that giant mosque.
Yeah.
Got the long way. We went in that way, and I remember yelling to our driver, and Heath, the gunner, said, "Dude, put in some traps. Let's listen to some Headstrong." And we blasted that thing, dude. And that's one of my favorite CDs to this day, and I still listen to that song. It's so good. I remember just jamming to that, rolling into that thing. That was awesome.
It actually was a good album. I remember Trap. That was a good album. We did Bon Jovi and Poison the whole way there.
Yeah.
And whatever else I had. I think I had Creedence Clearwater too, just for some reason I did.
Yeah, I got to have variety, man.
Got to have an anti-war song in there when you're going to war. Yeah, it was, oh, dude, Fortunate Son. Like, man, if you really listen to the words of it. But yeah, so I'll be honest before we close out here. The 3-day trip was one of the happiest times of my deployment.
Yeah.
It was just freedom. It was just us being us.
Yeah.
We couldn't talk to anybody. We just basically were sleeping on our vehicles, just soldiering. That's what I loved about it. It's just soldiering.
Yeah.
We didn't shower. We didn't do anything. But you brushed your teeth and shaved, kind of. And that's what I love. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was it's one of those things when you look back on, you realize how much entertainment and brotherhood you had in it. But man, during and then some of the repercussions after not showering in 3 days, we'll talk about next episode.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, some people
not a living.
Man. All right. Well, that closes up episode 3. All right, correction, episode 4.
Episode 4, yeah.
Yeah,
we're moving right along.
4. Episode 5, we'll talk about our first day in Iraq. Or correction, first day at our FOB, really.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. And there is some nudity in that one.
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Not cool nudity, though.
No.
Yeah. But anyway.
Not what I was looking forward to first day over there.
Definitely not. Well, hey, for Chris Autry, I'm Justin Fisher. This is War Whiskey Podcast.